Hello guys, welcome to another video on the channel. Today we've got our Game Week 5 Premier League predictions. The scores right now, I'm on 32, Jamie's on 27 and the guests are on 23. So hopefully our guest, TheAceBoy, link below in the description, we'll change that for the guests. Let's get into it.
Starting with my boys Palace v Brentford. Unfortunately we did lose 4-2 to Man City. Good performance from us. Brentford drew 1-1 with Everton. So should be a close game. But I think Palace are going to edge it. So I'm going to go Palace 1, Brentford 0.
Starting off, Palace against Brentford, Tuesday night, Sellers Park, London derby. It's going to be electric. I'm going to go Palace 2, Brentford 1.
Hey guys, TheAceBoy. So our first game of Game Week 5, we're kicking off with Palace versus Brentford. So this is going to be an interesting one, because it's at Selhurst Park. Palace, they may have played very well, but they fell short against Man City, who made a great comeback, 4-2. And also Brentford, they failed to even beat Everton. Despite all that though, despite everyone thinking that Brentford's going to lose, I feel like it's going to be Brentford 2, Palace 1. They're going to edge it, it'll be a good game.
Moving on to the game at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham v Brighton. Fulham losing 2-1 to Arsenal, and Brighton beating Leeds 1-0. Should be a close game, but just because Fulham at home, I do think they're going to get something. So I'm going to go Fulham 1, Brighton 1. I just think the home atmosphere at Craven Cottage, they're going to get something, and Brighton aren't going to get another win. So 1-0.
Fulham against Brighton. This is the mid-table clash in my opinion. It'll be close. I will go for a Brighton win. I'm going to go Fulham 0, Brighton 1.
On to the next game, we have Fulham versus Brighton. This will be played at Craven Cottage. Fulham, they've just lost 2-1 to Arsenal. They took the lead and then they ended up letting it slip. Brighton, they managed to edge it against Leeds 1-0. Despite all of that, I feel it's going to be a very interesting game. I'm going for a Fulham 2, Brighton 2.
The next game is at St Mary's between Southampton and Chelsea. Southampton losing 1-0 to United in the last one, and Chelsea beating Leicester 2-1. I think this could be a close game, but I just think Chelsea are going to have a little bit too much quality. So I'm going to go Southampton 1, Chelsea 2.
Off the St Mary's in the first Big Six team of this game week. Chelsea away at Southampton. They will get the win. They're normally good at Southampton. I think they won with a thrashing last season. So I'm not going to go for a thrashing this time. I'm going to go Southampton 1, Chelsea 2.
On to our next game. We have Southampton versus Chelsea at St Mary's. Southampton, they may have recently lost to Man United 1-0. And Chelsea, they end up beating Leicester 2-1. And despite Chelsea having an excellent record at St Mary's, last season, they beat them 6-0. I think Chelsea are still going to win, but it's going to be a much closer game. So I'm going for Southampton 1, Chelsea 3.
Moving on to the next games at Ellen Road between Leeds and Everton. Leeds losing 1-0 to Brighton in the last one, and Everton drawing 1-0 against Brentford. Quite a late goal they conceded about 84th minute. So I do think there's going to be another close game, but just because of the atmosphere at Ellen Road and Leeds are at home, I'm going to go Leeds 2, Everton 1.
Moving on to Ellen Road, Leeds against Everton. This will be tight. I think it'll be quite a dramatic game, entertaining. But I'm gonna go for a draw. Leeds 2, Everton 2.
For our next game, we're gonna have Leeds versus Everton. They may have both not been able to win last week, as Leeds ends up losing 1-0 to Brighton, as I said earlier. And Everton, they may have drew to Brentford 1-0, as I said earlier. But I still feel it's going to be a bit of a close game. I feel like Leeds are going to edge it though, so I'm going for Leeds 2, Everton 1.
Moving on to the next game, it's at the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth v Wolves. With Wolves drawn 1-1 to Newcastle. They've really got to pick up some points. And Bournemouth getting absolutely thrashed 9-0 to Liverpool. They've also got to try get something. Don't know why, but I fancy a Bournemouth win. I'm going to go Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0.
Now to the Cherries against Wolves at home. Obviously, they just got thrashed 9-0 by Liverpool, Bournemouth, and Wolves picking up a good draw against Newcastle. So I'm going to go for another draw. I think it will be a 0-0.
For the next game, we're going to have Bournemouth versus Wolves at the Vitality Stadium. I know Bournemouth just got absolutely slapped 9-0 by Liverpool, while Wolves managed to draw against Newcastle. Even though that everyone's going to be thinking that it will be like 5-0 Wolves or some massive result, I'm going for a massive anticlimax, as I'm going for Bournemouth 0, Wolves 0.
Next game's at the Emirates. Arsenal v Villa. Villa lost 1-0 to West Ham. Arsenal just about got over the line. Beat Fulham 2-1. Villa got to pick some points up because Gerrard is getting under pressure. But I don't think this is going to be the game they're going to do it. I'm going to go Arsenal 3, Villa 0.
On to my club, Arsenal. Aston Villa at home. Villa, awful form. My opinion, awful manager. Walk in the park, it should be. We just got past Fulham. Fulham are a good side though. But this should be a thrashing. I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal.
Moving on to our next game. At the Emirates Stadium, we're going to have Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Arsenal, they've been very form this season. They managed to beat Fulham 2-1 in the weekend. While Villa, they've had an awful start. Awful managing. Horrific result against West Ham as they gave them their first points. So I'll have to go with Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 1.
The next game's at the Etihad. Man City v Nottingham Forest. Forest losing 2-0 to Spurs. Man City beating my boys Palace 4-2. Erling Haaland's on fire. I think he could score a good couple goals, maybe even another hat-trick in this game. Fortunately for Forest, I'm going to go with a bit of a thrashing. I'm going to go Man City 4, Forest 0.
Manchester City against Nottingham Forest now. Obviously, most people think this will be a City win, and I do agree it will be a City win. Haaland is on fire. I'm going for another brace for him. City 3, Forest 1.
For our next game, we're going to have Man City versus Nottingham Forest at the Etihad. Forest, they may have came into this with a 2-0 loss to us. Meanwhile, Man City managed to win against Crystal Palace 4-2 with a comeback. Haaland lately is being great form. So I'm going for Haaland's going to get a hat-trick. It's going to be Man City 4, Nottingham Forest 1.
Moving on, in my opinion, to the biggest game of Game Week 5. It's West Ham v Spurs at the London Stadium. West Ham got their first win against Villa 1-0 and Spurs beat Forest 2-0. So both coming in with wins. It should be a close game, but I'm going to go West Ham 2, Spurs 2.
On to West Ham against Spurs, massive London derby. Love watching this game as an Arsenal fan. Always want West Ham to win, but I don't think they'll win. Tottenham are in good form. West Ham picking up a good win against Villa, but is it enough? No, it's not enough. I'm gonna go West Ham 1, Spurs 3.
Moving on to debatably the best game this game week. In my opinion, it is. We have West Ham versus Tottenham, my club, at London Stadium. West Ham may have got their first points, though Spurs have been in great form. You just beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 away. But I think it's going to be a very good game because of West Ham back on track. I'm going to have to go for West Ham 2, Tottenham 3.
Moving on to the next game, it's at Anfield. Liverpool v Newcastle. Newcastle drawing 1-0 to Wolves and Liverpool thrashing Bournemouth 9-0. I think this is going to be quite a close game, but I just think Liverpool going to get a couple late goals. So I'm going to say Liverpool 3, Newcastle 1.
This will be a good game. Liverpool against Newcastle. It will be tight. I don't think Liverpool will walk this one. I'm going to go Liverpool 2, Newcastle 1.
Moving on to our next game, we're going to have at Anfield, Liverpool versus Newcastle. Newcastle, they may have just drew 1-1 to Wolves. In Liverpool, they completely destroyed Bournemouth 9-0. Despite Liverpool seeming like they're in great form, I think Newcastle are going to be able to cause an upset, as I'm going for Liverpool 1, Newcastle 2. Also, it's going to be a great game.
Moving on to the last game of the game week, Leicester v Man U. Man U beat Southampton last time out, 1-0. Leicester lost 2-1 to Chelsea. Quite disappointing, thinking they had 10 men from, I think it was like the 30th minute. I was quite disappointed for them. But I do think Man U are going to get the win here. Just don't think Leicester look good enough. Bottom of the league. I'm going to go Leicester 0, Man U 2.
And last of all, Leicester against Manchester United. Leicester having an absolute woeful start to the season, and it just gets worse for them in my opinion. Leicester 1, Man U 2.
Moving on to our last game of this game week, we have Leicester versus Man U at the King Power Stadium. Leicester, last time out, they ended up losing 2-1 to Chelsea, while Man U, they ended up scraping a win against Southampton 1-0. Even though Man U seem like a strong side, I still feel like it's going to be a very interesting game, very close. So I'm going to go for Leicester 1, Man U 1. No pressure.
Big thanks to the TheAceBoy for coming on, and please do put below what you think the games are going to finish for game week 5. And until next time guys, see ya.